Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of season 2 of Nebula Jazz. I just want to say big ups on those graphics to get us into the episode. That's nice. This is a good MS brought to you by Microsoft Paint. If you don't have Photoshop, it'll do. So hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all again.
Hello.
It feels like it has been forever since I was last in your warm presence, everyone. What's everybody been doing? A lot of people have been playing this video game with the little guy who's like a cup. Dodger, what's up with the little cup guy? What's the deal?
You wouldn't think it, but it's actually a game about selling your soul to the devil. So that's fun.
Through gambling. Don't do it, kids.
Yeah, it's about sneaking off and going to a casino and gambling and getting a little too greedy, even when the devil's like, if you fail this roll, then I'm going to take your soul. And Cuphead's like, let's fucking do it. And, it just like goes either downhill or uphill from there, depending on who you are. But it's a very fun game. I'm super into it.
I really feel for the devil in that situation. Do you get to play as him? Is he the main character?
I am fighting him right now, though. I wasn't able to beat him before we started. It was a little bit of a bummer, but I'm very excited to do Nebula Jazz, so I was okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. I'm glad. I hope you can leave some of that saltiness behind.
There's no salt. It's a super fun fight. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched you play a little bit of it the other day, and it looked. Let me just say this: I watched you, and then I went and I watched Zeke, and you both react to things in that game very differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, shucks versus fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm pretty. I watched your stream, and there was a lot of like, oh boy, let's try it again, everybody, and then not so much with Zeke. But well, that's cool. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people are playing it. You're digging it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. It's like straight up my alley. If anybody played Fury, that game was basically just like boss fight, and it was really fun because it was just really straightforward that way. And for the most part, that's what Cuphead is too, and I appreciate it. And also, it's entirely hand-drawn, so like the animation in it is fantastic. It's just a great game.
Yeah, it looks like the old-timey like Mickey Mouse, like 20s kind of.
Yeah, Betty Boop and all that.
Yeah, I always found those really creepy. Betty Boop especially. Like something about like that one with the skeletons. I couldn't do it.
They tap in on that creepiness real hard.
What's up with creepy old-timey stuff? Like why? What is that? Freaked me out. Tugboat Willie creeping me out. Not into it. But yeah, it did look really really cool. So you're on the last boss. Are there like multiple like difficulties, or is it just like one like here's the game and fucking give her?
There's so up until the last two fights there's no differing difficulties. But up until there's simple and regular. And people have also told me that maybe after you beat the game you can go back through and you have the option of expert. So but yeah, so there's like a simple version of the same fight where they take out some of the elements, and then when you do regular mode, they pile on some stuff, and there's normally like one extra phase at the end. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I was gonna talk to you at the beginning of this episode about Nendroids, but I don't want to talk about it. I have a problem, and
What do you mean you don't want to talk about
it? I bought one when I was in Japan, and then I was like, oh, these are really cute, and then I bought some more. Now I have 7 of them instead of the one that I bought in Japan. They're so adorable, though.
Dude, the Tracer Nendroid just came in. She's so cute.
I hate Tracer. I hate her. Like I hate her so much. I know. And then there's this like adorable little plastic pretend Tracer, and I like her, but real Tracer can die in 1,000 time fires.
Damn.
Just run right into a horrible time fire Tracer. But
do you just have like a visceral reaction to her that you can't place, or like do you know exactly what it is about her that makes hatred boil in your heart?
Is it because she's British? You can say it.
It's not because it's her terrible accent. I hate hearing her talk.
Maybe I should not talk anymore then.
No, you're fine. You're not. You sound like a person whose accent is legitimate and for real. She sounds like someone doing.
Even to English people, she sounds fake English.
Yes. Yeah, I can.
But isn't the actress British?
Yeah, but like that. But obviously they've asked her to exaggerate her Britishness for the character, so that you can really identify where she's from.
It's
and
like
it's not. Yeah.
I mean, you do that too, right, Sam? Like Galahad's accent is like an exaggerated variant of your own accent.
There are people that really talk like that, but yeah.
Right, yeah. But I mean, sure, there's probably people that really talk like Tracer, but they can also die in a horrible time fire.
Wow, damn.
It's and also
time fire? A horrible time fire?
Yeah, not a regular fire.
I mean, that's how Tracer is going to die. Let's be real.
Yeah, she steps sideways accidentally into a timeline where everything's on fire, and then she gets stuck there.
Damn.
And then me and my friend May, we just watch her burn.
Wow, May is evil to her core. Let's be real.
Yeah. No, I think it's just because trying to fight, like she just jumps around and is so annoying, and I can't stand her. She's just the worst.
Gotcha.
But this tiny adorable figure of Tracer is much cuter, much better. I like it quite a lot. Yeah. So I bought a few more. I have like a handful of them now, and the internet is a dangerous place. If you like go on eBay and start looking at Japanese toys, I need to stop. I have a problem.
They can be so expensive too. Oh my gosh, some of those Nendoroids that have been out for a long time that are hard to get are crazy.
Yeah, well, what's weird is they're expensive to buy on eBay or like if you live in North America. But in Japan, there's this thing where people will buy they'll buy things like Nendoroids or Figma or whatever, and they'll take them out of the package and they'll put them on their little stands and they'll have them on the shelf for a while, and then they'll be like, "Meh, I'm sick of looking at this figure," and they'll take them down, and they'll take them all out, put them back in the box, go to a store and be like, "Bloop, I would like to trade this in for a different one." So if you're lucky, you can go to a store and get one for like $20. You can get like really out of like old like collector-y ones fairly easily, but you have to be in Japan for that shit. So
right. So what you're trying to say is they're not hoarders like we are.
No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The idea of just like taking a figure down and being like, I'm tired of looking at this thing. Go away. I'm not a fan of this anymore. I'm gonna trade in for a new Hatsune Miku, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to ask Sam, because I saw you and JP doing the lizard thing. How is the Warhammer treating you? I assume you enjoyed it, but then also you spend a lot of time playing games anyway. What did you think? Tell me.
It's really fun, but like I kind of burnt out on it. Mm-hmm. Like once you get to like turn 120 in a game, it's the same old shit. Like you're just gonna fight. Like, and the most fun parts are like fighting battles you shouldn't win.
Right.
Like you get like a battle and it's like, this is 80% in the enemy's favor, and you're like, we'll see about that, motherfucker. And then you like try and like play the terrain and stuff and get the win. Those parts are awesome. But a lot of the time you find yourself like, you have a big army, you auto resolve, you move on.
Right, because
you auto resolve.
It's not like XCOM where it's like you have an 80% chance to win, and then you do it, and then it's like, well, you failed. Like it just happened in one go. It's like the game guessing, and then you actually play it out, right?
Yeah. I played Lizard Men off stream a few days ago, and I had a lot of fun because I hadn't like tried them yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm excited to see like what they do with it, with adding all the other races and stuff.
And
it was fun. It was really fun.
So, and this is a sequel, right? This is like whatever, Warhammer Total War like 2. It's not an expansion for the.
Yeah, it's kind of like they had a vision for a game, but it was too big, so they broke up into 3 parts, and eventually those 3 parts are gonna Voltron to become one giant game.
Interesting.
So all the races from the first game are like played by AI in the second game. You can't be them, but you can be like these new ones. Huh. And then eventually they'll merge them together, and then you can be everyone. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's their like plan. Is like they're gonna have 3 games. They're gonna like sandwich them together. There's gonna be a giant map.
That's really weird. But I guess that's kind of like StarCraft is like that, or the StarCraft 2 is like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah.
That's
my
cool.
My only hope is that they look at, with a game that size, if they're gonna make it that big, they look at making it maybe more than 2-player, because I feel like 2 players isn't enough for a game of that scope. But
yeah.
we'll see.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. But you did that thing where you played too much of it and now you're tired of it?
I will definitely go back to it. I think I'm gonna wait for like the Gore DLC that's coming out soon. But for now,
Right.
I'm definitely like TO'd.
I feel like Dawn of War did that too, where they were like, here's a Halloween pack, and it's just way more blood, like just a ton of blood. It's like, yeah. I mean, that's on brand for.
Is that what the gore pack is? It's literally just like everything is gorier.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll get in, but I do have one of those personalities where I'll like go way too hard on a thing, burn out, and then have to like recharge. Yeah. So
I did not know this about you.
I would say that's not a testament to the game being bad. It's a testament to me going way too hard on it and then having to take a step back. But it's definitely a good game.
We can have this conversation again when it actually comes out. But Sam, I just want to remind you, Monster Hunter, Sam, Monster Hunter.
Don't worry.
It's coming out.
I'm knee deep already.
Sam currently has 4 Divinity 2 games going at the same time?
Yeah. But like they're themed. Like they all have very different themes. So I have one regular game with friends. I have one game where we're role playing as 2 dwarf scumbag thieves and we rob everyone. And then I started a new game 2 days ago called the Shameless Bone Boys. And basically in the game you can play as undead, but you have to keep covered up all the time, or like basically NPCs will like scream and run from you or immediately get hostile. But me and a friend decided that we were gonna like be proud of who we are as undead, and we refused to wear helmets. So we just walk into towns and half the town runs and the other half the town is like, oh my god, the undead are walking among us, and they try and kill us. So that it's been they're very different playthroughs. The Shameless Bone Boys has been quite the nightmare. Just trying to find an NPC that will trade with us has been quite the struggle. Because I have a skull for a face.
I have to say, I admire your dedication to like getting into a game and then just playing the living shit out of it. But I wonder, Dodger, do you ever worry that one day Sam's just gonna get up in the morning and look at you and be like, nah. I'm burned out. That's it.
I gotta keep him on his toes. That's the only way.
Keep releasing those expansions.
Sometimes when we wake up, she's just got a fake mustache on. I don't know where it came from.
Keeping it spicy.
Like, yeah, this is new. I like this.
Right, alt costume Dodger. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Good. Marriage tips from the internet. Do not listen to marriage tips from the internet. Good job. Oh, that's good. Jesse, how are you holding up, man? I saw you be playing some games earlier. Tell me about Coxtoberfest.
I'm doing good.
That's good. What you been up to, buddy?
I'm doing real good. I have a problem, and the problem is that I like playing games and drinking. So, hi everyone.
That doesn't sound like a problem at all.
That doesn't sound like a problem to me. I don't. Yeah. Sounds good.
That's a good beer too.
I got it because Hogarden.
Yeah.
Right, because it's a garden of hose, which is what you want. Subtle.
Yeah. Hogarden was the first beer that I drank that I liked.
I played a bunch of games today, and I reluctantly named my first town in ancient Greece in Civilization 6 Sean Bean, and of course it came under immediate attack, and I was defending it the rest of the game, so I had to quit. I was like, why would they leave it alone? I didn't want him to die.
I love that was your response to poor Sean Bean being invaded. Like, I'm just going to quit.
I was like, there's no way I'm going to win. I fell so far behind in technology because I had to put all my points in, like, fighting. And it was dumb because America kept attacking me, and I was like, "What the fuck, America?"
Do you think that anybody calls Sean Bean in real life Mr. Bean and then realizes what they said and corrects themselves?
I think that happens all the time. I think his family does nonstop. If I
right
knew Sean Bean, I would.
Mr. Bean.
Can I tell you something the other day? I was on a plane back from Ohio. I was flying through Detroit.
Saw this.
Ron Perlman was on my flight, a row in front of me, and I was like, I can't say anything to Ron Perlman because Ron Perlman's awesome. And he just sat there, and he was like chilling, watching an old episode of God, what's that show where the guy he travels around? Anthony Bourdain. That's my Anthony Bourdain description. You know, the show where the guy travels around. Anthony Bourdain.
The travel guy, Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, I was watching that, and I was like, well, I can't interrupt that. I don't want anyone to interrupt me when I watch Anthony Bourdain. So
I saw that
let him
you
be.
tweeted at him. You're like, hey, I'm on the same plane as Ron Perlman. And I gotta say, big ups to Ron Perlman, because if someone did that to me on a plane and I saw it, I would literally just get up and look around like, who tweeted me? Which one of you did it?
Who did
Where you
this?
where's this Jesse Cox motherfucker?
After the flight was over, he gave me like a. I was like, yeah, Ron Perlman, give me. I felt real good about it, so it's fine.
Well, in
fine.
Ron Perlman's language, in the language of his people, that means you're married now.
I'm one of him.
You're his plane wife. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's
That's
good.
pretty cool.
Plain bitch. I don't know if he like. I don't know if wife. I don't think you made wife.
Again,
I don't know.
I think that has to be an audible noise to be wife. Like a like
I mean,
something
yeah,
like
no.
that. But like
I didn't feel immediately impregnated by him, so I
Yeah.
was like,
the
I
noise
think
you just made,
you're like a plain slice.
that grunting
Yeah.
noise you just made sounded like everything Sean Puffy Combs has ever done on a rap album ever.
Yeah.
That was a Puffy noise. Good work.
oh,
You did.
Anyone
Puffy.
needs that white cis man Puffy? Give me a call.
It's good. It's nice. Well, I hope that you and Ron Perlman are very happy together. That's all.
you
I'm gonna
will
say.
be. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Pocket, you're looking like a space elf today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I don't know. I've had a little bit of a rough patch in my personal life, and you can always tell when I start playing League of Legends again. So that's how I'm doing.
Is that your cry for help? Is League of Legends?
That's like no, I'm not even joking. Like that's my cry for help. Like even one of my friends, I was like, hey, be sure to patch League of Legends, and he's like, oh no.
Oh, honey.
Honey, oh no, what's going on? So I've been
Oh.
playing PUBG on stream and League of Legends at night.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I always go back to it. So I don't really have any like, oh man, this is such an interesting game I'm playing, because it's the same
Back
crap.
to the classics.
I'm back to the classics, baby. Anyone that likes League of Legends, I discovered Urgot is OP and a lot of fun. There you go. There you go. There's my tidbit. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm
I
excited.
have no
for
idea
it.
what you just said.
I have a question.
Okay.
You say PUBG?
Yeah,
I
well,
say
PUBG.
PUBGs. Yeah.
PUBG?
PUBGs.
Yeah.
What do you
PUBG?
UBG?
PUBG?
PUBG, Maymays,
PUBG.
Dog E. It's all the same. Why you gotta
PUBG.
hate
It's just PUBG.
Pubg.
No, PUBG.
Pub-
PUBG?
PUBG.
Like,
PUBG.
uh,
Oh my God, Puppy G! We call it
Puppy G.
Puppy G from now on.
I mean, I think at this point, anyone can call it anything they
Oh
want
my
at
God,
all.
I'm calling it Puppy G.
It's fine.
Yo,
I think
anyone wants to play
I think it's
Puppy G with
pronounced-
me?
it's pronounced Fortnite, I think, is how you say it.
There you go.
That's
That's the one.
Oh,
topical. There we go. This is how jokes are made, everybody. You just machine gun dumb witticisms at each other until something sticks. Then you're like, yep, that's the joke.
You're like, oh, I
Normally-
found it.
Normally, you don't do it in front of the audience. You do it
My God,
beforehand.
Can we call it Puppy G from now on, please.
PUBG.
Puppy G.
PUBG.
I mean, you can. Nobody's gonna say no.
I know they won't. People need to say no to me more often. I'm uncontrollable.
I will absolutely say no to you. Come
People
into my
need to
office
say
whenever you
no.
want something. I'll just look at you square face and be like, no, get the fuck out.
Then I won't be in your office anymore. Then I'll just go do it anyway. I'll be like, he doesn't care. He's not leaving that place.
You want me to stand over you?
I would prefer it if you would just
Shaking
stand
my
over
head?
me.
No words?
That would make for a better stream. I'll be honest. Just you in the background, like,
Just saying no to Jesse.
I do not condone any of this.
No. And that's fair, real, and good. You need some boundaries, Jesse.
Thank you.
I like how sometimes we talk about Jesse like he's Sam and Dodger's kid. You gotta firm up those boundaries, y'all, because he's gonna get into some shit if you don't.
Well, I mean, in a sense, I believe it.
Too real. Just a little.
In a sense,
In
in
a
a sense, he's older, but in a way, much younger.
In a way,
Yeah.
in a way, isn't Jesse
In a
all of our
way.
children?
We pay Kristen as a nanny, but she's just too.
Uh-huh.
She's not strict enough with him.
Yeah, he did bring me my salad, so I'm feeling good about that. But
She also bought you beer, so I think we're back at a net
a
zero.
lot of beer.
That's what you want. You want your entire life's effort to just be a wash. For every good thing, do something terrible. Just
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah,
Like the
Balance is the name of the game, man.
Yeah. Well, I think we've suitably warmed ourselves up. We made a couple of bad jokes. We made a good joke or two in there somewhere. Congratulations, everybody. Welcome
We're
to
back.
this. Let's do
We're
it.
back, baby.
It's season 2, bitches.
So, because this is the special occasion of season 2, we'll do the cinematic intro. This is an unskippable cinematic. Too bad. Mash the X button all you want. You can't do anything about it. We'll do our little opening cinematic, and then we'll introduce you to the goons of Nebula Jazz season 2. So, imagine, if you will, see inward with your mind's eye the beautiful imaginary film and or TV show that is Nebula Jazz. There is a darkness at first. We can hear the sounds of a jail cell of some kind being opened. We hear rattling of bars, maybe the telltale clinking of keys, though they're space keys, because, you know. And then a heavy crashing sound as the doors are being opened. Lights start to come in, but it's still very indistinct, blurry almost, as if we're seeing from the point of view of someone who's not all there. We can hear some faint grunting, the sound of heavy boots on grating, a dragging sound. And the point of view is kind of carried through this badly lit hallway. We can see occasionally above us lights coming down through the blur. We can hear someone being kind of dragged along. And on either side of the camera, there are two large, menacing figures carrying whoever's viewpoint we are looking through. So this our point of view is being dragged through a hallway. And we're starting to get the first of the kind of opening titles. We can see, like, a role play production starting to come up, some producer credits. It's all JP for whatever reason. And then we see a chair, menacing looking, like torture barca lounger. And there's a big spotlight of white light from above. And we're thrown into this chair. And that's when the point of view switches, and we can see someone being thrown into the chair. He is wearing sort of indistinct kind of like space outfit. He's got a jumpsuit of some kind on, and we can't see his face. He's got a bag over his head. And he's thrown into the chair, and he's lashed to it by some nasty-looking, slightly rusted manacles. So there's this big spotlight over, thrown into the chair, and one of the goons sort of steps into frame, and he's wearing like sort of sci-fi Mad Max outfit, right? He's got maybe a scary looking metal mask with jagged teeth. He's got maybe one big robot arm, and he's thrown something in this chair, and we can see him. And he steps forward, and through the mask, we can hear him say, "You've had plenty of opportunity to answer our nicely asked questions, and the boss is getting tired, so he's on his way down here to ask you himself. Now, you better tell him what he wants to hear, or you're gonna regret it. Space trash." And then the person in the chair gets backhanded by a meaty green fist, and his head snaps to one side. We hear a faint grunt, maybe of disgust, maybe of pain. It's hard to say. And then we hear a door open somewhere in the darkness. There's a hissing sound. Door slides open. There's heavy boots on grating again, and we get a slow pan up. This tough looking individual. Now he's dressed much nicer than the goons, but in a kind of similar outfit. Right? He's huge, probably 10 feet tall. He's got kind of rocky looking, like grayish skin, big like space motorcycle boots, and a denim vest with a bunch of like nasty looking kind of faded patches on them. And as we get up to his face, we can see his head is mostly bottom jaw and nasty tusks. There's maybe some evidence of a mechanism attempting to get his teeth under control, but for the most part, it's just a big nasty maw, and then one big red eye in the middle of his face. And he stands in front of our figure in the chair. And he says, "You've been a thorn in my side for too long. And off screen we can hear some hissing. And as the two goons are like, "Ooh, it's gonna get good now." One of the goons is opening a case. We can't see what's in it. And he says, "The boys are done playing with you, and now it's my turn. You're gonna tell me what I want to know." And he puts his hand up and he says, "But not before I have a little fun." And on the other side, we see one of the goons pulls the mask off, and we can see the hood, and we see the bloodied face of our favorite Sharkanoid, Rex. But he looks like he's been through some shit. He's got a black eye. He's got bruises and cuts on his face, dried blood around his mouth. And he looks like he's been drugged, right? He's not all there. He kind of wobbles a little bit in the chair as the guard pulls his mask off. And the other walks over with the case and takes out a single sequined white glove, which he puts over the hand of this cyclopean goon, who looks at you and through his snaggled fortress of teeth grins menacingly as "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" by Michael Jackson begins. And he leans back with the punch, and as soon as the punch connects to Rex's face, we go bang straight to the title card for Nebula Jazz. And the rest of the sequence of titles is played over this "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" as Rex is just being pummeled by this dude in slow motion. So the music is playing, and every hit gives us a new title. We have Nebula Jazz Season 2, starring Dodger as Artemis, and Pokket as Luna Kiara, and Jesse Cox as Basil, all caps with periods in between. And each of these hits gives us a new credit, and we get this sort of blurring. And as the music comes to an end, we see the goons, we see the guy, the chief dude, take off his glove and hand it off to one of the other goons. As the third goon is taking you out of the chair, Rex, yanking you up from it. You've just been pummeled soundly, and you get dragged back to your cell. So we see you dragged along the hallway. Your boots just kind of like grinding on the rough area of the floor, and out into a hallway lined with cells. The guard walks up, punches a series of keys on the door, and the bars slide out of the way, and a sort of grainy, sort of fizzly looking shield disappears as you're shoved back in to your cell, and it closes. And the goon gives you one last look before he leaves, and under his mask says, "See you tomorrow, old man," and walks away. And so we hear him like clunk 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 walking away on the boards. And as you kind of regain your sense of where you are, you hear your cellmate, whose name you don't know. You've been cellmates for a while now. You're starting to lose track of time, but you hear a faint clicking sound, and then a long inhale and an exhale as you turn to see your roommate, and he's like a tiny, nasty-looking little like mangy penguin man, and he's sitting there with his flipper. He's holding a cigarette. God knows where he got a cigarette in this place. And he just out of his little beak, he's like, when he looks at you, and he's like, "How long are you going to keep this up, old man? Just tell them what they want." And we pan over to Rex, who's just been just beaten senseless.
Yeah.
What do you look like? What do you say?
Rex is his hair's longer, messy. He's got like a beard. There's a little bit of salt and pepper in it. He kind of drags himself, cradling his ribs to the wall, so he's sat upright. And he kind of you see, he spits at the ground. You see blood and a sharp tooth land on the ground. And he kind of looks at the penguin and just kind of leans in. He's like, "Didn't I tell you to mind your own fucking business?"
And he leans back and kind of whack, chuckles a little bit. another draw on his cigarette and blows it out. And he says, "My friend, when you have been down here as long as I have, you learn to take what entertainment you can get. So, you never told me, Why are you here? Scorn's fortress is an oubliette from which no man has ever escaped.
Who said I was escaping? He like shifts his weight.
And he looks at you, with his little penguin eyes, and he says, you know, as they say, Scorn's fortress has many secrets. There could be something here worth escaping with, I think. Perhaps your cellmate? I could be very useful to you, old man. I am a penguin of some skill.
If you're a penguin of skill, you would have been out of it by now.
And he says, what, and miss out on our chats? No. I couldn't leave you behind, mon ami.
Don't mon ami.
And he waddles over to you, and so he walks out into the light, and he's just like literally just a penguin holding a cigarette. And he leans in and takes a look at you, and he looks sort of concerned, and he says, you don't look so good. I think you need a doctor.
Rex,
And
he grabs like the rim of the sink and like hauls himself up, and you see him just like washing his like bloodied hands in brown water, like coming out from the sink, and just like patting his cheeks. And yeah, he's kind of just ignoring him at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he says, "Suit yourself. It's your funeral." And he walks over to the bars, takes another long drag of a cigarette, and with his little flipper, like flicks it out into the hallway.
As he flicks it, Rex, under his breath, is like, "You'll sooner die from those. I die from that guy's fist."
and he laughs. And he looks over at you and he says, but old man, we all have our vices, don't we? Some of us, we cannot help the things we love." And he looks out sort of wistfully and starts to like whistle to himself, sort of tunelessly. And we pull the camera back out into the hallway, and make our way down the hall slightly to another cell. And we see sitting in this other cell alone with no cellmate. We see Luna Chiara. Can you describe your character for us, Pokket?
Sure. She's Cesarian, and she has green hair, green eyes, really white skin, and she's tall with a thin structure, and she has long pointy ears.
And how are you dressed?
I would say right now she probably just has like a white tank top on with just some like some black pants, like work type pants that you'd see in like a doctor's office or something. So, and slippers because yeah, why not?
Okay, so you're in this cell, and I think that we see you. We pan over, and what do you look like? Are you looking like tense? Are you afraid? Are you calm?
She's very calm. She's actually, or I would say I'm laying on the bed with like my hands like just folded at my chest, and just my eyes are closed. And I'm sort of, it doesn't look like I'm sleeping because it's too rigid of a pose. But I'm just sort of listening to everything going on and just thinking.
Okay. All right. So we see you in your like contemplative pose, and I think so. There's like a noise. Someone across the hall is trying to get your attention, right? Like banging on their bars, like shouting at you, like "Hey, over here!" Like trying to get you to look up. And this is pretty normal. You get a lot of harassment from these dirtbags down here. Are you shaken by it, or do we just see like calm on your face?
No, just pure calm. Like doesn't even flinch when the banging starts out of nowhere.
Excellent. All right. So we see that, and I think that we go past you to, you have a little viewport in your cell, and we kind of go out the viewport to a desolate planet surface. There are huge obsidian spires coming up out of the snowy ground. There's a swirl of some terrible blizzard. We can see space clearly because there's barely any atmosphere on this terrible world, and we sort of follow the camera up, and we can see hanging quite close to the planet overhead. We see a big moon, one of its satellites, and there's probably some other smaller ones at a distance, but we see this moon, and music starts to fade in over what sounds like kind of crappy like speakers, like it's got that kind of bit crusher like grainy effect on it. And as we fade from this scene to the next, where Artemis and Basil are, what are the two of you listening to while you're waiting to hear from Rex? What is the song that's playing over the speakers?
Any ideas?
I think it's something by The Cure.
Nice.
I don't know what though. I want to say Boys Don't Cry.
Okay. Sure. All right. So that music starts to play over the crackling speakers, and we crossfade to the inside of like a facility or a ship maybe. Whatever it is, it's cramped and it's crappy, and the two of you are sitting at a table trying to pass the time. What are you doing, and what do your characters look like? Tell me about set the scene for me of the two of you.
Well, I'm I'm fairly small, a Mangasi girl, and wearing a lot of clothing. It looks like at any point, if I were to need to leave, like most of me would be covered up. But I'm restless. I'm like super antsy, just like shaking my leg, tapping my fingers, kind of like checked out, and at the same time totally on edge and like ready to act at any second. Like just, yeah.
Cool. Okay. So you're aside from the fact that you like, if you're mostly covered up, or you're like partly uncovered because you're on the ship or in the base or whatever, and it's safe?
You can see my face because I know that, Basil knows what I am and knows what I look like. It's mostly like thick, heavy clothing, and I have like a mask and a hood that I can put up if I need to. But right now it's down, and we've been here for a while.
Yeah.
We've been here for a while, and I'm just like,
as far as you know, Rex went down to that hellhole and died there. You haven't heard from him in a long time. So we see the near perfect face, maybe too perfect face of a Mingasi across from at the table. Jesse, your character. Would you like to describe your character for us?
And also near perfect face. Although his body is made up of varying metals and alloys, and it definitely looks like he was, at least from the face down, repurposed and re-put together. From the neck up, he definitely, you can tell at some point, was a pleasure bot. And you know this because he has the face of 1985's sexiest man alive, Mel Gibson.
But 1985 Mel Gibson.
1985 Mel Gibson.
Oh my god.
And it's an exact replica of his face. But
so,
and like,
I just googled Mel Gibson 1985, and it's good. I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's an exact replica of Mel Gibson's 1985 face. And but the rest of him, there are some patches of skin and alloy, and at some point it's very obvious that this was a pleasure bot, but something has happened since that time. And he stands there holding his hand over a burner, like some sort of burner flame that's going off, and he keeps rubbing, like mushing his hand back and forth over it, and it doesn't burn. He keeps looking at it even though he has like a scorch mark, and he just like keeps holding it over the flame, and he's not really paying attention to anything or anyone, and frankly doesn't care. He's just sort of along for the ride.
Excellent.
So he's not necessarily concerned about Rex. He's in his own sort of like, why don't I burn? Like that kind of, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So are the two of you, are you talking at all, or is it just this like nervous, awkward, self-destructive silence? And Boys Don't Cry playing over this.
Boys Don't Cry playing.
I'm really curious whose choice of song this was of the two of you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
What were you gonna say? Because
Oh,
I was gonna say
definitely
definitely Basil.
Yeah, definitely my choice. It's definitely my
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, I've been, it's been creepy silence, and I've been holding my one organic hand because it's sort of like a weird mix of synthetics or organics over this flame, and even though I can't feel it, you hear like this crackle, and Basil sort of pauses, and he's like, "One thing I love about organics is the smell of when they burn." And he just like keeps like holding his hand over the flame, and he's like, "It's delicious."
Just
Keeps
like
like rubbing it back and forth.
kind of boredly look at him. I'm like, you say some really creepy stuff sometimes, dude.
And Basil looks back, and she's like, "You'll learn to appreciate me."
All right, that's it. We gotta go down there. I can't stay in here anymore, man. And I like stand up to go and look out. I assume we have like a big viewport somewhere.
Yeah. So you walk over, and we get the establishing shot of whatever. Like, I'll let you, Sam. You can help me describe it, but like you run out of money basically. Like, these people and this ship are like, as much as you've got, you've promised to pay them, and other than that, you're run out. So we're looking at like not a sleek battle cruiser. This is no, Agaran Manta interceptor. What does your crappy ship look like?
Oh, it's a repurposed cattle transportation ship.
Nice.
So I traded it in for my old ship to get like a boost of cash, and I used that to like hire Basil as a mercenary, and I got a little bit left over, half up front, half when the job's done. But the ship, like, you can't really go in the cargo hold. There's like pens in there that weren't like even cleaned before I got the ship. So like they're cramped into like the cockpit section. And the cockpit section's got like weird magazines in it that are like Comet Cowl is like the franchise that like they were being sold to.
Maybe I like go into the cockpit because that's where like the big window is, and like flop into one of the chairs, and it's got like fuzzy cow print cover on it.
I love everything
like
in it isn't, it's not like, none of it in it is cowboy cowboy themed. It's cow themed.
Yeah, it's cow themed.
And because like there were all these commercials that had been broadcast out into space about like beef and stuff, but there's no actual cows. So some species tried to genetically engineer like their version of a cow, and it's got like 8 legs and like spider
like a
eyes.
Monster.
It's a hideous, what you think of as a cow.
Yeah, you can see through the porthole as you pan out to the side of the ship. It just looks like a kind of shitty space delivery van.
Yeah.
And it says like Comet Cow on the side, and there's like this cow with like fly eyes, like big bug eyes, and just like 8 legs, and it's kind of like zooming through the sky with like one hoof held out. And
Looks like the cover.
But like half the paint is starting to like peel off. And it's kind of like hovering there between like these 2 asteroids, just above like this concentration.
Cool. Yeah. And the ship is the ship is like actually like moored by cables to the inside, so it's kind of like in between in an asteroid field around the side of the moon, and so we get that shot of it, and we can see Artemis as she steps into the viewport to look down at the planet. And the planet looks like, you've been in orbit around the planet, who had a name in the Imperial. You probably at one point learned this planet's actual name in the Imperium like galactic atlas, but everyone just calls it Scorn's Fortress. And it's like one of the sort of deadly warlord capitals that has risen up in the last little while since the Empire of the Mingasi fell. So you can see this planet down below, and you know that your boss somewhere down there is hopefully still alive and maybe needs your help. So what do you do?
Yeah, I like flop into the chair and kick my feet up, and I stare out and just kind of like sigh into the sea. I'm like, he told us not to go. He told us that we should stay here. But what if he's in trouble? Like, we should probably go, right? Right? I like look behind me and realize that I'm alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. It'll be fine. Do you know how to drive?
Basil sort of stomps in. He's like, "Yes, I know how to drive."
Do you actually know how to drive, though?
Why would I lie to you?
I don't know, man. You weird me out. That's all. Like, get up. Like, all right, then drive us to Rex.
But Rex said to wait here.
Yeah, screw that. Okay, let's just go. It's been forever. I can't be stuck in here anymore, man. I'm gonna die in here.
I don't want to disobey Rex. He's nasty.
Okay, how about this? If Rex is dead on that planet or locked up somewhere, you won't get the rest of your money. Right?
But I will have a ship.
The ship makes like a pained groaning noise. Somewhere, yeah, like one of those like cows you turn the little toys. And yeah, somewhere something you hear a cable snap and like something fall, like a cabinet full of metal tools just gets knocked over.
All right, fine. Then I'll figure it out and we'll just see what happens. And maybe I'll break this ship, but at least I tried to do something. Like, I'll try to fly the ship.
Okay, so we see you like storm off to go to the cockpit. So meanwhile, down on the planet, Rex, your roommate is staring wistfully out the tiny porthole out at space, and I think we see the moon, and then we see him just kind of like in silhouette. The bars casting a light on his face, and then we see you. And
Rex is like he's like on the bed with one leg up, and he's like, "Hey, Flipper."
And he turns and he looks at you, and he's like, kind of squints.
2 cells down on the left. Who's that?
And he says, says to you, I beg your pardon.
Two cells down on the left. Stick your little head out. Who is it?
And he squints at you and he's like, my name is not Flipper. Flipper was a dolphin, you jackass. And he looks at you, and he says, the woman to which you're referring, and she is a doctor of some kind, I believe. I think Scorn had her kidnapped. He has used for some kind of scientist. I don't know. I'm not a mad warlord. I am just a mere penguin.
Rex, he like pulls himself up out of the bunk, and he starts stretching. And under his breath, you just hear him say, bingo. Like that.
Yeah, and so when you say that, I think he looks at you and he's like, no, you fool. Bingo was a dog.
Under his breath, Rex just goes, I'm going to miss you, Flipper.
And so you walk over. Now you've prepared, right? Now that Scorn is here, you've been waiting for his arrival, and yeah, you had to get him to beat the shit out of you to confirm that he was here. But the windows of opportunity have aligned for you. So what are you gonna do? It's time to spring into action.
Rex is he looks down and he looks at the penguin. He's like, "What's your plan for getting out of here?"
And he looks at you and he says, I I had no plan to escape. Dying in captivity is what we do.
Good to know. I want to bite his head off with my stunt.
Okay, all right. So
What is your stunt?
No, don't do
What
it.
do you think Rex's stunt is?
You still have all your old stunts?
No, just the one.
Oh,
So
I
we'll-
prefer it if like you have to. You know what? You have to liquefy stuff first. You're getting old.
No.
You can't take bone anymore.
No. Once a Sharkanoid, always a Sharkanoid.
So
That's
what-
one thing they can do.
you turn, and your ominous familiar shadow falls upon your tiny penguin friend, and as you stalk towards him, he looks up at you and he says, "Wait, what are you doing? Stay away from me!" And like, it's like kind of gets up and like flapping his little wings,
Like against the bars.
up against the wall, and he's like, "No, come on, I can help you. You want to escape? I know everyone in this prison. I've been in here for forever. What are you doing?" And like gets up in the corner. He's like kind of like speaking, but also being like whack whack whack, and like trying to get away from you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think Rex just like bites deep into his neck, and you see like claret like spray up the bars and the wall, and then we cut to Rex, and he like elbows the crusty mirror in the jail cell, and puts a piece of glass like by the penguin's hand, and then he like kind of rattles the bars. He's like, "Guards, he's off himself. It's been an accident."
What?
Try to give him mouth to beak or whatever.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're horrible. All right, so you're like, he's done something terrible. I need help. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It's like, get this guy out of my cell, will ya?
So before the guards arrive, you hear in your cell, Luna, you hear that. You hear someone shouting like, there's been an accident, and yeah, and you can hear that. What are you gonna do? Do you say anything? The guards will be here in a bit, but you can talk to them. They can hear you.
No, I don't say anything. I just stay laying there, quiet. Like I just keep the same, like, because it's not the first time that someone's off themselves in this prison. So she's like, oh, again, really? So she just stays quiet, calm, and just ignores. Like even as the guy across the cell from her starts like getting all like riled up and excited, like he actually gets excited and sounds like it's like, yeah, there's action now, boys, get ready. And so she's just like, oh. And that's all you hear from her.
Like it's the faintest sigh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's boot prints on the floor. You hear like the thumping, and a guard comes up. Big hairy sort of four-armed humanoid, and she walks up to the cell, and she can't really look in, right, because the field is opaque, and she's like, what's going on in there?
What does it fucking look like? Get him out of here, will ya?
And you're like, hang on, and you hear like rattling, and she opens the door. You hear a couple of awkward kind of like beeping sounds, and then she bangs on the panel, and it turns the field off. The door slides open, and she looks in, and she sees. I mean, what does she see? I guess
Rex is kind of like, he's distanced himself from the penguin, and like he's clearly like fresh wounds. He doesn't look like he's in a position to get out this cell. He's like pretending to clutch his ribs and like steadying himself on the wall. And by the bars, we see a penguin, he's just got like, initially it was teeth mark, but you can tell it's been retraced with a bit of glass, and the glass has been left conveniently.
There's a scene we didn't see where you were just like mashing him with a
Yeah. That's why we deliberately avoided that scene. But like, it looks like it's just been
she steps in and she looks at the body and she's like, by the Blixnort. And then she looks at you and she's like, what happened?
Well, hello.
Yeah, and she walks over, and you want her to kind of like give you an opportunity to like to grab the keys, or what do you want to do? Like get her to ignore you, or what's your intent here? What do you want?
To beat her ass and take the keys.
Right. So an opportunity to like
Yeah.
get her when she's not paying
Whoop her
attention.
ass.
Okay. So she walks over to the body and puts two of her hands on her head and two of her hands over her mouth, and she's like, I gotta tell the boss, and he's gonna, and so you can see her kind of like having some trouble, and yeah, there's an opportunity to she needs to do. What do you do? Do you like you don't really have like a sap you can bonk her over the head with or anything?
He goes for the two-handed overhead.
the hammer.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, sure. Let's have you overcome a challenge here with your forceful.
Okay.
I think it's just going to be probably like a 2. I think difficulty 2, forceful.
All right.
Nice, no problem. Okay, you do it, and you look good doing it. What happens? So she's huge and furry, and you look like we see you behind her, right? We see her like, oh shit, I got to do something about this, and we see you in the background, and you've just like suffered weeks of being tortured by these guys, and then the boss personally beating on you, so you look like shit, but. You managed to like basically one.
It's the old man syndrome, right? Yeah. Like they just think like you're a fucking mess because you look like an old dude, but like Rex he's packing a punch. He never lost it. He lost a bit of his speed, but he never lost his punch. And he's been kind of like feigning the ribs and what else. And the time's come, and he's just giving him a good old wallop on the guard.
Yeah, so we see you kind of like rise up into the light behind the guard, and we can see your rows of serrated teeth glinting in the icy light coming through the window, and then just like bam, just like slam the guard in the back of the head. Thump! She falls to the floor in a puddle of penguin blood, and and the keys clatter to the ground next to you.
So Rex reaches down, he like unholsters her pistol, and kind of like sticks it in like the waistband of his trousers, and then he kind of like grabs the keys and jingles them a bit, and just kind of like leaves the cell and like shuts it behind him, and heads 2 cells down to the left.
Okay. Yeah. So you step out into the hallway, and and I think that's what we see, right? We see the shot of old Rex covered in penguin blood, just like old times.
And his own blood.
Yeah, and his own blood and other people's, just lots of blood. You step out into the hallway, grinning, and everything's going according to plan. So let's take our first break there. When we get back, we'll go over everybody's aspects and stunts. We'll do that part of the character intro, and then we'll see how Artemis and Basil come and fuck things up. So stick around. We got lots more. First episode of season 2, Nebula Jazz, when we get back.